Thank you for hanging with me. I'm Mr. Herman. Today we continue one of the most important lessons of the year. Are you ready to learn? By the end of this video, you should be able to explain how the Holocaust was carried out, define genocide, and understand why studying these tragic events still matters today. Today's big question: how can prejudice and hate lead ordinary people to commit extraordinary crimes? As we go through this lesson, keep this question in your mind. The first step in the Holocaust wasn't mass killings, it was isolation. Jews were forced to live in ghettos, crowded neighborhoods, sealed off by walls or fences. Conditions were terrible. There was little food, no medicine, very poor sanitation. Disease spread quickly. Many people died long before they ever reached a camp. What do you think life would feel like living behind walls with almost nothing? Take a moment and think about that. Starting in the early 1940s, Nazis began moving Jews and other targeted groups from ghettos to concentration and extermination camps. People were packed into trains under horrible conditions: no food, no bathrooms, barely any air. When they arrived at the camps, families were often separated forever. Why do you think separating families was part of the Nazis' plan? It's important to notice that breaking apart family units made it harder for people to resist or survive. Life in the camps was a nightmare. At places like Auschwitz, prisoners faced brutal forced labor, starvation, disease, and constant abuse. Many were murdered outright in gas chambers, while others died from the inhumane conditions. The camps were designed to erase people's dignity and their lives. How did the conditions in the camps strip away people's humanity? Let's pause for a second to think about that. Even in such terrible conditions, many victims resisted. Some organized uprisings and escapes. Others resisted by keeping diaries, sharing food, or simply surviving another day. Small acts of bravery kept hope alive even in the darkest places. Why is even small resistance, like sharing food, so powerful in a place like a camp? Remember, in times of cruelty, kindness becomes an act of rebellion. The Holocaust wasn't just a terrible event, it helped the world create a new word: genocide. Genocide means trying to destroy a group of people because of their race, religion, nationality, or ethnicity. The Holocaust was the first genocide to be legally recognized. We already talked about the Armenian genocide earlier, but this was the first legally recognized. But sadly, it wasn't the last. Other genocides happened later in Rwanda, Cambodia, Bosnia, and more. In 1948, the United Nations made genocide a crime under international law. Why do you think the world waited until after the Holocaust to create a law against genocide? It's a heavy thought, but an important one. The Holocaust didn't start with death camps. It started with hateful words, unfair laws, propaganda, and people looking the other way. Genocide can happen when prejudice is allowed to grow without challenge. It's up to us, every generation, to remember the victims and stand up against hatred today. Closing reflection question for you. What responsibility do we have today when we see hatred or injustice? Think about that as we move forward in history and in life. Until next time, stay curious, stay focused, and as always, make today count.